I'd like to say hello to everybody. My name is Stephen Cross, and I've been for a long time contemplating actually starting a talk show. And it seems as though the planning of times and events that have happened have brought me to this point. The trials and tribulations, things that you go through in your life. And right now, it's a very challenging time for a lot of people right now. I can understand that. As you can see, my hat says, the last enemy is death. This is what this talk show is going to be about. And before we get started, I want to say this to everybody out there in listening land and those that are on the internet and those of you that are going through that are, this challenging time with this pandemic that is affecting so many lives and it's taken so many different turns. You have my condolences, those that have been affected, those that are losing jobs, those that finances are, I just really want to say that my prayers go out to you and my concerns. And actually I work in the grocery business, so I see what's going on with the panic shopping. And it's amazing how somebody can say one thing and the media is something that we used to trust or we want to trust, but we don't know if we should trust because we get so many different conflicting statements and opinions, and this doctor says this, that doctor says that. I'm not really here to talk about that. That's not why I'm here. So the disclaimer is that I'm not on here because people are at home or they'll be at home or I planned this for this time. I didn't plan this for this time. I've been trying to actually do this for some time. I finally got my trademark, and it seems like every time I try to start speaking about what I believe God has given me to talk about, the enemy, which is the adversary, which is the devil, he would come to bring about some type of hindrance in my life that would keep me from doing what I was trying to do. So this is one of the reasons why it's taken me so long. I'm talking about this has been years in preparation. And as I go through some of the details and things that it's going to be like a testimony to some degree. But what this is going to be about is the last enemy is death. My question to you is this, because you're going to. If you live long enough, you're going to die. My question is to you, what do you know about death? What do you know about death? Because you're going to die. I'm going to die. But I'm not going to die the way other people die. And that's what is so good about this, because this seems like this is like a real down topic, death, man. Who wants to talk about death? Well, right now, and I could kind of use this time period, people are afraid. American people are afraid of what? They're afraid of dying. I'm not afraid of death because I understand it. I understand death. When you understand something, you don't fear it. You don't need to fear it. Some people say, I'm not afraid of death, when actually they need to be because they don't understand it. Now, if you understand death, that's a different thing. My question to you is that, do you understand what death is about? You take an ant or a dog, a cat, when it gets hit by a car or when you step on it, and think about something as small as an ant. Can you imagine an ant actually has a brain? I mean, when you step on it and kill it, we say it's dead. Okay, it doesn't no longer have life. And my question to you is this: is pain in your body, or is it in your soul, in your spirit? Okay. I'm going to be asking questions to make you think, because people say, well, I asked that question, is pain in your body or is it in your soul and your spirit? People say, what's in your body? I said, well, how can it be in your body? It can't really be in your body, because if it was in your body, you'd be able to take a dead person and kick them and they would say, ouch. Another question is to you from me is this: do you believe in things just because you can see them? Okay. Now, actually, things that you can't see, in fact, I ask you another question. What's more powerful? Things that you can see or things that you can't see? I say that the things that are more powerful are things that you can't see. Okay? And the reason why is because right now, I'm going to prove it. I'm speaking words. Can you see any of them? You can't see a word that I'm saying, but you can hear them. You can hear every word that I'm saying, but you can't see a word. But yet, words can make people fight. So you take something that you can't see and it messes with things that you can see. There's something, I don't know if you've heard of something called phantom pain. Phantom pain is where an individual that has had a limb, and say for instance, like a friend of mine, in fact, I was talking about this, asking questions, I was bringing this up, and I was asking him, I was trying to talk about, what is more painful, the pain in the body or in the spirit and the soul? And I was telling them about how one of the people that I used to teach downtown at the downtown San Diego, what's it called, a Salvation Army, would teach down there once a week on Thursdays. And one of the ladies got her leg amputated. And I asked her, can she still feel it? And they will say, yes, I can still feel my foot there. Even though my foot is no longer there, I still feel it. Okay? So the gentleman that I was talking to, one of my other friends, I didn't even know him that well, but however, he said, you know what you're saying is true. Because I was in World War II, and he took off his boot. And what happened when they dropped him off the helicopter into the middle of war, he immediately got his foot blown off. Okay, so they had to go and pick him right back up and take him right back. The medics had to take him, the helicopter had to go right back down and pick him up. Well, he pulled off his boot and he said, you know what? I can feel my foot. It feels like it's on fire, even though my foot's not there. So my question to you is, pain in your body, or is it in your spirit and your soul? It's in your spirit and it's in your soul. Because your body, it's the temple of where you live. The real you is this. I tell you right, do this right now. Just go like this. That's the real you. The real you is, that's you. Because once you take a breath, they said the person takes their last breath. When you take your last breath, you're coming out. You're coming out of your body. And this is what we want to talk about. We want to talk about the last enemy is death. People, they're afraid to die. They're scared to death. And United States actually is really in trouble. We're in trouble. You know why we're in trouble? Because we have left our very first heritage. A lot of people in America, they don't even know what the very first textbook was. We're going to talk about things like this. We've gotten off course. And because we've gotten off course, we are reaping. We sowed into the wind. Okay, now we're reaping the whirlwind. Okay, we got all kinds of things going on. People think if you plant some apple seeds, don't go expecting pears to show up. You reap, people call it karma. I call it reaping what you sow. You put it into the ground, expect it to come up. One thing about it though is this. When you put one apple seed into the ground, in fact, it has to die before it can actually bring forth and generate, in the ground, it's got to die first. But you don't expect to get one apple on the tree. You're looking for a bunch of apples, okay? And it depends on how you plant your seeds, and it depends on what kind of ground you have. If your ground isn't properly prepared, the seed, and if it's not properly watered, if it's not nurtured properly, it's going to have a lot to do with what kind of fruit you get. So people go around doing things doing negative things and they're expecting positive things to happen, you know, just like I taught my children when they were younger. I taught them how to cross the street, you know. If I didn't love them, I would just say, hey, you know, oh, you can just cross. You don't have to look. Just go across the street any kind of way you want to, you know. And actually, what's going on really with our generation is what the parents' fault. We're lacking teaching in the home. We think it's left up to, you know, the teachers at school to teach our children. And to some degree, they have that job, you know, to teach them skills about math and what have you. But basic life skills and right and wrong, which we've done got far away from, we don't even know what is right and wrong anymore. Anything goes. We just do anything. And, you know, you will pay for what you do when you're in your body. You know, I often tell people like this, you know, there's a baby crying somewhere right now. Can you hear it? No, you can't hear it crying, but I guarantee it's crying somewhere right now. That's how that place is. There's a lot of people crying right now, wishing they could come back and tell you, oops, they got out of their bodies. Ooh, they look like this. Oh, it's real. You know what? Wait a minute. They see their body down there? Wait. And then they either go up or you're going down. It's not this middle ground stuff. You're going to go up or you're going to go down. Hopefully you go up because there's a place that's called Sheol, okay? That word is a Hebrew word, okay? And Hebrew is a pictorial language. You know, it speaks not only in words, but it speaks in picture form. So the letters have pictured meanings. And Sheol means somewhere in the earth not really known to man. It's the place of what they call the living dead. That's why I ask people a question. What do you know about death? What do you know about it? Because you're going to go through that door one day. Let me tell you about one of my friends. He was in a psychology class and they were teaching, you know, how to get out of your body, astral projection. You know, I won't call his name. I could call his first name. His name is Wyman. And I came home one day and I was sitting down, I was talking to him. He was telling me how, you know, they was teaching this breathing rhythmic technique where you breathe in and out, you know, and blow it out slowly, but you got to concentrate on where you want to go. So you concentrate on where you want to go so that when you get out of your body, you go to that place. Well, he said he did it. Sure enough, he got out of his body. He's like, man, he lifted up his right hand. He couldn't see it. He lifted up his left hand. He couldn't see it. And he was out in space somewhere, but he didn't know where he was. But he knew that he was out of his body. Okay? Isn't that amazing? His body wasn't there. He said he was out of his body. But he was still able to think. He was still able to feel. And his brain was down there laying in the bed. Okay? So here it is. He's out of his body. And this is the way he explained it to me. He sat down and was talking about 3 hours. And he said he saw something, it seemed like doors, you know. And he said in front of the door, it seemed like something like really glorious and beautiful, something desirable. And then, but behind the door, he could kind of sense it felt like something that was like, nah, wasn't right. It was like evil, some kind of like presence of darkness. And so what he did, he said, God, Lord, please, if you just let me get back in my body, I'll never do this again. So what he finds out, he ends up waking up on his bed. But guess who was doing the waking up? His wife was shaking him like this, trying to wake him up. She said his body was like fluttering on the bed, and she was trying to wake him up. some things that you get involved in and you get information, you don't have all the information. You think that, oh, this is okay. This is good. You know, I'm going to check it out. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it. People always trying stuff, but you don't know the consequences. You know, some people mess with Ouija boards. Okay. They fool around with Ouija boards and, oh, I'm going to see if it works. One of the persons told me that there's dealing with a Ouija board. And this is when I was getting my teeth done. And I overheard them talking about the Ouija board. They was at their house and they all got around and they started moving like it was supposed to, what they do. I don't fool around with that stuff. Okay, and then they fooled around with it and all of a sudden the windows screeched real loud. There was a loud screech and then the windows just crushed up and cracked. And then they got scared and pulled away. Oh, they got scared. Oh, you know, and they threw it away. They put it in the trash. Well, the guy said the next morning we woke up, it was in the closet, the Ouija board. Let's just say this. There's some things that you mess with, you just shouldn't mess with. Okay? We have a world living here with us that you can't see. They're called the fallen ones. They're Nephilims. You know, people call them aliens. What they are is they're Nephilims. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, because we're talking about things that we can't see. Okay? You cannot see a spirit. Okay? Spirit is something that you can't see. Now, there are things that are living here with us that we can't see, but they're there. Let me ask you another question. You say you believe in things only because you see them? No, you don't, because the radio signals that are in the atmosphere, they are there. You can't see them. But if you take a radio that you can actually see, that man has made, and tune it in, and say, for instance, you're supposed to be on channel 1040. Okay, you turn it to 1039 and a half, and what you get is a bunch of static. But if you turn it right to that 1040, you got this sound. Where is it coming from? It's in the atmosphere. It's already there. So you do believe in things that you can't see, but you just don't think about them. You live in them every day, you know? And these are some of the things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about death. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be using the very first textbook that America had to explain what I'm talking about. You know, some people say, oh, I don't believe in the Bible. The Bible was the very first textbook in America. Okay? For those you millennials don't know, because I ask them all the time. Do you know what the very first textbook was? Oh, no, I don't. No. You know what? They don't even think about it. You know why they don't? Because the parents didn't teach them nothing. Because why? America has gotten away from its roots. As a nation, we were called a Christian nation. You know, the only group of people that get talked about and discriminated against and don't really do anything about it are Christians. You know, this what's going on right now, and I'm going to talk about some things because there's some information that came to me and I'm going to share it. I got some information. We're going to talk about things that you are directly dealing with and you don't know what you're dealing with. We're going to talk about SWIFT. I don't know if you've all heard of SWIFT. SWIFT stands for the Second World Internal Financial Telecommunication. You say, well, what is that? Better known to you as telepathic. Okay, I'm going to tell you about some things like that. We're going to talk about stuff that we're dealing with, things that are happening, what's going on, and what is death. Is death, one person, a friend of mine, she believes that, in fact, she just left here a few minutes ago. She believes, because she wanted to know when this is going to be airing, because she knows how I be talking about stuff. Because I like to talk about things. I was always curious when it was going on. Okay? But, you know, death is something she believes that when she dies, it's over. You know, she thinks that you just evaporate. It's all over. You know, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're here on the earth, it wasn't an accident for one thing. You could just look and see how you are born. You can look and see how you're born. Just look at that documentary. It absolutely blew my mind. When I looked and saw how all these sperms, they're coming out, and this little egg comes down, trickling down from the mother, the woman, and all these little sperms is like, they look like a football field. They look like they blocking. And this one guy, he's ducking and he's hiding. That one sperm, he's going like this, Is it time? I'm going. If you look at it, you know that when you got here, you were supposed to be here. Somebody planned for you to be here, okay? All my information I'm getting from you is going to come from out of the Bible. I'm going to tell you that right now. So if you don't want to listen to what's in the Bible, you probably need to tune me out. Or you might tune me out. I'm not telling you to, but you probably will. Because I tell people this. People don't believe in the Bible. I ask them a question, and that's this. Do you know where the Bible came from and how it became into existence? People go like this. Man wrote the Bible. I say, okay, okay, man wrote the Bible. How? How did he write the Bible? You're telling me what he did, but are you telling me how? I like for you to tell me how. Don't tell me what. Tell me how. Tell me when. Tell me what way. You know what? I have some keys, right? Okay, here's my keys right here. Here's my keys right here. Okay? You see, first of all, I'll prove something to you. These keys, okay? These keys right here, I just picked them up. They didn't jump into my hand. I had to go down there and pick them up. Do these keys have control over me, or do I have control over the keys? I know it's easy. Answer, of course. I have control over the keys. Okay, the key, unless they make one, it's not going to walk itself down to my car or jump up there. Of course, they got those ones that you just start your car with. I'm talking about this particular key here that unlocks a car, that starts a car, that makes a car run. I'm in control of this key. I put it in. It doesn't have anything to say about what I am doing with it. It was made from something that was already here. And then it was made from something that was made by somebody from things are not made from things that do appear. In other words, man always wants to start off with the amoeba. He said we came from the amoeba. I'll go along with you. Where did the amoeba come from? Oh, it came from out there somewhere. No, you don't get to start with B. You got to start with A. And you can't start with nothing, because what is nothing? Is nothing what's between me and you? No, because there's spirit between me and you. What does nothing look like? You don't even know what nothing looks like. So these right here, I have control over these. So I tell people, now if you were the creator, wouldn't you want your creation to have part in writing a book that they're going to have to go by and know why they're here? The book that tells you about how you got here before you got here. How is man going to write about something that he wasn't here to see start? How does he do it? By the one who created him. Why wouldn't you want your son to learn your business so he could take over what you have him to do because you're in love with him? You want to teach him his things. You think that, I'm going to tell you right now, whoever started this thing off is down. I mean, look at these bodies. Look at the way these things work. I mean, and you know what? He knows exactly what he's doing, and he's got a plan. And if you don't tune into the right station, all you're going to get is static. Most people, what they got is static. They don't understand what's going on. They're going through their lives, getting involved in things, love of money, all these riches and things they grab and go after. I know how to get rich. But the book that I read says labor not to be rich. Okay? If money, wealth comes, so it comes. I'm not craving after it, trying to strive for it. That's not really important. You know? Ask people another question. Do you have life insurance? People say, yeah, I got life insurance. I said, well, yeah, you got life insurance? And they said, why, you trying to sell me some life insurance? No, I'm just trying to find out what kind of life insurance you got. What's the name of yours? Prudential? Or which one you got? Transamerica? Uh, or Mutual? Which one do you have? Well, I have this. Oh, that's what you got. No, you don't have life insurance. You have death insurance. You see, death insurance ensures that when you leave, somebody else is taken care of that is actually living, so that they don't have to pay your debts. And also that you could turn around and do what? Give them an inheritance. Life insurance is when you have ensured that when you come out of your body and when you lay it down, you don't die. Because there's a scripture that says to be absent in the body is to be present with the Lord. Like I said, some gonna go up and some gonna go down. And it's not funny. People say, oh, go to hell. I don't think that's funny. I'm gonna tell you about an experience that I had. You know, and there may be some of you out there in listening land that have had this experience where it seems like your body's gonna burn up and catch on fire. And you feel like you're going down real fast, like you're going to hell, and you can see it and you know it. And this present comes in and it scares you to death. And then something red stops you or something doesn't. Do you know that everything on the earth was made for the Creator? All colors, there's languages that are all the same. Color is a same language. Okay. Red means stop in all languages. You know, yellow means caution in all language. Green means going. Do you know there's 3 colors that are all over the earth that everybody almost sees every day when they're driving? You know what they are? They're the stop signs, stop signals, red, yellow, and green. They're all the same all over the earth. Just check and see when you go from one place to another. They might be slanted a little different, but they still mean the same thing. They mean red, stop, yellow, caution, and green, go. Another language the same, crying. Crying, you could cry when you laugh though, too. But crying has a definition of a meaning in all language. Okay? Clapping is another language of the same. There are things that are here on earth. Everything was made for God. The Bible says that God created the earth for his pleasure. Do you realize that you're living in the most important dispensation of time? We're going to be talking about the fallen ones, the fallen angels that are here. Okay? I'm just giving you little bits and pieces of different things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to hopefully give you some information where you could go back and check for yourself to see whether or not these things that I'm saying are true. And by the way, this is my son's logo, just in case you're wondering. This is my son's wear. He has his own, own wear. Anyway, and those of you that are probably going to be, some people told me they want to get these hats. I'm going to also have these hats for those of you that want to get them. This will help to support me being able to be here to give you all this information. Anyway, I just want to let you know that for those of you that really want to know what's going on, and I'm going to show it to you, God is shutting down planet Earth is what he's doing. He shut. Some people think like because of coronavirus, they think, oh man, it's the plagues. It's the plagues. No, it's not the plagues. It's not the plagues. It may be a shadow of the plagues. Remember, before an image comes, when the sun is shining behind it, you see its shadow first. Just like people think this chip, the chip, because they get ready to put chips in people. Okay? Swift has a lot to do with this. I'm going to talk about Swift. Some people on the Trilateral Commission, Freemasons, all these things. I tell a lot of people, I said, you know what? A lot of people get caught up into the web. Okay, the World Wide Web. It's a whole lot of stuff out there in the web. But people get caught and trapped in the web. You know what I tell people oftentimes? Forget about the web, because you're going to get caught up in the web. This thing's going to take you this way. This thing's going to take you that way. You're going to be thinking this is about that and that's about this. You're going to get so caught up into the web that I tell people what you need to do is find out where the spider is. When you find out where the spider is, then you could deal with the web better, because then you got the control. A lot of people are blaming God for all that's going on when God has rules just like man has rules. You know, if you get in trouble and you know what the rules are you going to blame somebody else? Or are you going to blame yourself? Isn't it amazing how we have our own rules? We don't want people saying things to us. Don't get in my space. Don't be talking to me. Don't come over here by me. I see my battery's getting low. So what we're going to do is, this is just a pre-opening to what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff, and I'm going to be giving you all some facts, okay? It's not going to just be me talking off the top of my head. Some of the things I'll be talking about will be experiences, but we're going to talk about death. Because once you understand about death and what death really is, maybe you'll prepare yourself so that you won't have to die. The only part of you that will die will be the temple that you're living in. That's this body. This body goes back to dust and ashes, but the real you, when you come out, you go on somewhere. And you're going to go according to how you lived in your body while you were here. I made a lot of mistakes. You might see things popped up here people that I've done that I was all jacked up, shouldn't have been doing. I used to sell drugs, years ago. I've done a lot of things wrong. A lot of people don't understand the Christians, for one thing. They think that they're perfect, and perfect is a word that really doesn't mean what people think it means. I mean, is this a perfect key? That's all according to definition of description of oneself. You can say, well, yeah, it's a perfect key because it works. No, it's got dirt on it. Who defines something perfect? Perfect in the Bible means mature. Okay? It means that when it's been brought to your attention that you realize that you're doing something wrong, you're mature enough to make a decision and acknowledge that you're wrong and change. That's what God said Job was. Job was a perfect and an upright man in the book of Job. So he made mistakes. But when God brought us to his attention, he was wise enough to acknowledge it and change. I'm not upset with my baby because while she's learning how to walk, she trips. I get excited. Ooh, look, she took a step. I'm not thinking about her falling. I'm thinking about, oh, she tried to take a step. Oh, look at her. Ooh, look, she's trying to walk. Okay? And then when she gets ready to walk, I'm like, oh, she's took a step. She's going to walk. I'm happy. God feels the same way about us when we trip up while we're walking this race. We make mistakes. He likes to see it when we try to get back up. We say, Lord, I'm sorry for what I did wrong. We get back up again. We have a relationship with God. Those of you that don't have a relationship with God, what do you have to look forward at when you die? Man, that's a lot of faith to think that you're here for a little bit old short 65, 75 years, and then it's all over. That takes a whole lot of faith to believe that that's what's going to happen after you die. So I'm telling y'all now, this show is going to be found on YouTube. If you want to find it, it's going to be called The Last Enemy is Death. And also I will be having some music that I'll be playing, because I'm also a saxophone player. I'll be playing gospel music that is going to be called It Was a Setup, is the name of my CDs. And most all of my CDs will be called It's a Setup. It was a setup when you were born. It was a setup for you to be here. It's a setup right now if you're listening to me. And so we're going to be dealing with a lot of stuff. I know that some of you out there probably want to know about that spontaneous human combustion. I was talking about catching on fire, and I dealt with it. You know, y'all can uh, write in, you can ask questions, email me, and we will try to give you answers according to the Bible, not my own opinion. I'm too young to have my own opinion, okay? Or my own definitions. People try to make up their own stuff. You're too young to be doing that. You have a birthday. If you have a birthday, it don't count. God don't got no birthday. Say, oh yes, he does in Jesus. Well, we're going to explain that too. Because the only birthday God had was in the flesh. Okay? Because why? He came down here to die for us. He already knew he was going to make a mistake. Did he make us make a mistake? No, he didn't. God planned the end from the beginning. Let me say it again. Because when I say that, wait, what does that mean? Plan the end. God, in other words, God can't make a mistake. Okay? But within our mistakes, he helped to make a way out of our mistakes that we made. He made a way for us to get out of what we did wrong because he didn't make us robots. He didn't make us like the sun. He didn't make us like the moon. He didn't make us like the stars. He didn't make us like the trees. He made us with a will. You can do whatever you want to do. But you pay for what you do. And you can't blame nobody but you because you did it. You made the decision. People say, yeah, but my mother and my dad, you know what? When you get older, if they didn't brush their teeth and you learn that you need to brush your teeth after you get over and you got enough sense now to know to do it, oh, I'm not going to brush them because my mom taught. No, you're still making a decision not to do it. Just start brushing your teeth. Stop using excuses. Use the excuse, say it, but then say, you know what? But I'm breaking away from it. I ain't going to keep doing that thing. So we're going to talk about just plain things that everyday stuff that, we make decisions about, but the main topic is going to be, what are you going to do after you die? What are you going to do? Because this little thing with this little coronavirus, and I don't mean it like that for those of you who are suffering, but if us in America, people around the country, they're looking at us and they say, wow, little America, they're so used to just going around messing up every country, bombing them and killing people for wrong reasons, and then tell us one thing. They tell us one thing in the media when they're doing it for another reason, to get either the oil or whatever. The love of money, the Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. We don't even know who's going to be what. Capitalizing on this stuff. People capitalize on things. What? For money. The love of money. If you want to find out what's going on, follow the money trail. People listen to the media. The media, all you got to do is follow who is paying these people that are in the media. There goes your understanding about what can or cannot be said. Because if I'm working for the media and I'm getting paid by them, if I don't say what they want me to say, then what's going to happen? If they're paying me, oh, you don't want to, you're fired. Get out of here. You're gone. And then you're like, oh man, I don't want to use my job. I better make this look as good as I can. Like when people get held hostage, they get they hold a gun to you. You better not tell them that I got you